now.
Hey, what's up, John? You all
How you
right?
doing?
Not much, man. I just came back from exercise, man. I walked a couple of miles. Okay, so check
Oh,
it
yeah?
out. Yeah, so tomorrow, listen.
That's good.
Yeah,
Hey, walking's good.
yeah.
Just a mile away.
Tomorrow, man, I'm gonna be doing a show with Pirate tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
Yeah, and
That should be a good one.
yeah, I'm thinking so, man, because he's got a fucking hell of a story, right? Um, and then
Oh, yeah.
and then Monday, homie, I'm doing a road trip up to New York, so I ain't gonna be around Monday either.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so give me a call on Tuesday for sure. All right.
All right.
All right. Hey, listen,
Yeah,
bro.
that'll work.
Yeah. So listen, let's talk about. Tell us about, man. What the fuck is that place? Where's the first place you landed when you went to California?
Tracy,
I mean, after that, you went up to
Pelican Bay.
you went to Pelican.
Pelican Bay.
Yeah, tell us about that, man.
Pelican Bay is just, I went to the shoe. You know, they threw me in the shoe.
Right.
What happened, the reason they threw me in the shoe is I was in Tracy and I run into a couple of Northerners, Psycho and a guy named Stranger. Turns out Stranger got them all fucking arrested. Stranger was doing a turnaround, like a 90-day turnaround, like, you know,
Yeah.
he was out on parole, got hit, he's just doing a 90-day turnaround. And he couldn't do that, he was in love with some chick, so he called ISU and ITI, that's Inmate Investigative Services Unit, and Inmate Gang Investigator, and says, hey, I know about an unsolved murder. And he implicated a bunch of people in it to get out. Well, all he really did is implicated himself, too. He got everybody, including himself, indicted for first-degree murder.
Jesus.
So he was telling me stories on writing it on some fucking toilet paper and shooting down the line. Now, I'm right next door to Psycho. Well, Stranger and Psycho are jive beefing because Stranger knows what the fuck he did, and Psycho tells me, he shoots me a wire, and he says, John, I need some help. These guys have falsely accused me of this and that, and blah, 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 and all. So anyhow, long story short, I says, okay. So what I did is I wrote the fucking DA and the lead homicide detective and told him, listen, you know, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't care one way or the other.
Right.
But it looks like your informant's lying and setting people up. So they pulled me out, and when they pulled me out, they had me in a little room, and I'm handcuffed behind my back, strapped in a chair. They got the DA across from me and the homicide detective next to him. And I'm saying, listen, I got admissions from one of your informants that it's looking like he's just framing motherfuckers and all that, trying to get out of jail. He's in love with some fucking broad, and he's putting murder beats on people. And I started giving him some fucking details about what I know. And Psycho knew what I was going to do.
Right.
And he authorized me to do this. So I did it. I could see this fucking DA, when he's looking at me, when he thinks I look away, he's cutting his eyes open to the fucking homicide detective. He's saying, man, are you getting a load of this shit? So what happens, I'm kicking big holes in their case.
Right.
And a couple of days, Psycho's investigating, see me. I talked to him. All of a sudden now, a couple of days after that, I'm on an unscheduled journey, transfer to Pelican Bay to the shoe. They haven't given me no hearings, due process hearings, validation hearings, nothing. They just kidnapped me out of there, and the DA told them, get this motherfucker out of this joint, get him out of here. He's destroying our case.
Right.
And so they snatched me up, put me in Pelican Bay, and when I went in, they gave me an indeterminate shoe program, but they never validated me under California shit. It takes 3 pieces of information. They just used my federal validation to get me out the way and throw me in the shoe. So I 602'd it. I'm in the shoe for a while, so I 602'd it. And I'm not there not that long, but maybe 6 months or whatever it was, because I had my first hearing, right? But I get the 602 back, and the warden agrees, and you know, even the intel people, IGI, ISU, the SSU, they all agree they fucked up. They denied me due process law and all that. So they didn't want me on yard at Pelican Bay. The associate warden during one of my reclass hearings there, where they do like a 6-month thing.
Right.
I'm going from normally that ain't nothing. They just see you and continue present program. One of
Right.
those things, right? And it goes on for years and years up there like that. Well, it did when they had the indeterminate shoe program.
Right.
They've since gotten rid of them. But so I went to him and he's saying, continue present program. I told him, well, hold up. What about the motherfucking 602? I just got back from the warden granting my grievance, saying I'm right. You got to let me out of the fucking shoe. And he said, what? I said, yeah, what about that? And the guy sitting next to me, who was my case manager, I turned to him, I said, that guy, when you initially gave me my unit classification committee hearing and gave me my indeterminate shoe program, when I first drove up here, it was you, another counselor, and the acting warden. I said, that guy, acting warden, he said, oh, he's not the acting warden. He's the warden. I said, well, that guy there just granted my motherfucking 602, and you got to release me from the fucking shoe to the main line. And the AW says, all right, hold up. He says, we're holding off on your shit. And now he told my case manager, go back to the block with him, because, I'm in the shoe, right? Security housing unit. Read this motherfucking 602, because they don't even know about it.
Right.
I had just gotten it, man, a few days before that. And so we go back, I grab it. My case manager looks at it. He says, hold up, I got to make a copy of this. He comes back, gives it back to me. He says, you're right. The warden granted your 602. We're going to have to let you out of here. And so he said, but well, here, you got to wait another week. Then we're going to take you back to classification. So next week I go back. And we're in there again. Now, they only got this one little sheet of paper on me. They don't have none of my records. When I left the Fed, I had like 43 volumes.
Yeah.
My records. When I would go to the motherfucking executive body to get out of the fucking control unit at Marion, they'd have a whole cart with just my records on it. They'd wheel it up.
Right.
So the only thing they got in California is a thing maybe an inch thick. That's it. So he's got that same thing in front of him. This is the same one that in Tracy, my unit manager there, Rosa Estrada, or my case manager, had it. And she told me they didn't send in your records or anything with you. And then she was looking at this little sheet, which is just like little excerpts of shit. She turned to the IGI lieutenant and the ISU lieutenant. She's a bad dude. She says, I wouldn't even accepted you into California if I was in our Sacramento unit. So, and she says, you're BRB. There's nothing we can do with you. Director's review board is the one that's got to do shit with you. Well, fast forward, I get kidnapped out of there to Pelican Bay because I'm helping this dude fight a case. So now I'm up there. So I go back, and this AW's got my the little skinny sheet of paper, a little transcript thing in front of him. He's saying, we ain't even got this guy records. He says, but look at this shit. He starts reading up, and he says, I'm not comfortable with this guy on our main line out on Pelican Bay. He says, let's just transfer. Let's send him down to the shoe in Corcoran or something and let him battle his way out down there or something, right? And he said, that's what he's trying to do. So I'm telling him, well, wait a minute. Your boss says you got to let me go. So he started hemming and hawing. He says, okay. He says, then he says, all right, release from the shoe. So when you're released to any main line out there, you get CTQ. That means confined to quarters for up to 10 days, unless it's a longer thing that the warden puts it on or something. So I get out. I'm in the fucking main line. I'm CT2, confined to quarters. But I'm confined to quarters for like 23 days before they finally fucking call me out for my classification. When I go in, it's, a bunch of AWs, captains, all in there. They said, all right, Greschner, sit down. Don't even say nothing. Just sit down. I sit down. They said, okay, listen. This is Greschner. He's been transferred in here, forcefully transferred into our system from the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And he was validated in the feds. They fucked it up here. This man, he filed in 602, the warden ordered the release. They says we have no basis right now to put them back in the shoe. We have no basis to even put them in motherfucking ASU, administrative segregation yet. So he came and looked at me. He says, "Listen, man, you're going to stay on our line here, our main line, D-Yard at Pelican Bay, but don't get comfortable. You know, we don't want you here. You're not going to be here. And the first fucking thing spoken, you're going to be out of here. We're going to let you go to the yard, do all this stuff, but you can't participate in any other programs like education or none of that shit. And other than that, you get all access to all programs, but you're out of here." Well, it took me maybe, I don't know, maybe 5 months or something. I was supposed to go down to another spot called Pleasant Valley, a level 4 down there, but they closed that for intake because they're having issues down there. So they changed it up the night before I got my transfer ticket, and they shot me down to Corcoran. So the Pelican Bay is, it's just a level 4 180. The yard's all chopped up with fences. They keep the fucking yard separate like this and that. It's all bullshit. You know what I'm
So
saying?
how long were you in population, bro?
I don't know what.
How long were you in
I don't
population?
know what's happening there right now because they got rid of the shoe as far as indeterminate shoe program. But it's just another level 4 180, man.
What I'm saying, how long were you there in population?
About 5 months.
So, like, would you just go to chow? What are the cells like there? Are they the same as the cells in the shoe?
Yeah. Well, no. The cells in the shoes, the bunks are on the back of the wall. There's cement.
Yeah.
And they go along the back of the wall. And you ain't even got a motherfucking thing to climb up on them. You got to stand kind of on like this little TV stand to get up there, right?
Right.
Now, I was in a single because most of the guys back there are in single cell because they kill each other too much.
Yeah, I know. It's funny.
But in the population, it's a regular 180 cell. The cells are alongside of the wall, right alongside the bed. You got a little table there, stuff like that. You got the cabinets. On the front of the cell, you got the same type of cells. Solid steel with little holes drilled in it, right?
Yeah.
And
You got cell partner? You got cell partner?
We ate. What?
You got cell partner?
Yeah, I had a cell there. Mine was Thumper. He just come off of death row.
Oh, wow.
Versus death sentence. He's up on death row with the fellas. Eddie Kurt, Whitey, Red Rock, all them guys. So he was there with me. He'd been on death row about 12 years or so.
So they feed you in the cell? They feed you in the cell or what?
No, you ain't right in the building. See, normally in 180s usually got their chow hall right there. They got a chow hall that different pods and shit like that share, right? Different blocks and shit share.
Uh-huh.
But what they do is they do drive-bys. They just come wheeling in with those hot carts, and then they open your door, you step out, get it, and then go back to your cell and eat the motherfucker in your cell. Or they had like little tables and shit you could eat at. And then they come back through and they just pick the trays up. You don't go to the chow hall. You don't do none of that.
And they let you out for like rec, what? A couple hours a day or what?
Yeah, you go to the yard. And the other ones, guys I was with, they were going to programs so that I couldn't go to programs. But I could go out in the day room. The little day room really ain't shit happening there.
Right.
And you're out for a minute, use a phone, shit like that. It's just your typical California 180, level 4 180s, man. And,
okay. They say it's tighter than a motherfucking Dick's hat band. I mean, you don't think it's any, you don't think it's any worse than Corcoran? You don't think it's any worse?
Corcoran?
Yeah, is it any worse than Corcoran out in population?
Well, they're all kind of the same shit.
Right.
It's like when I got to Kern Valley, right? Kern Valley's level 418. You get yard every day. Like a couple hours in the morning or afternoon, whatever yard. But you only get day room out of your cell inside like once every 3 days because you got a gun on you right there. The tower's, the same tower looks over all 3 pods. And while you're out in the fucking day room, you got a motherfucker on you with a rifle just right there.
Wow.
In your pod, right?
No shit.
So,
yeah.
If they're, I don't like 180s because, you don't get out that much. And it's like you're stuck in the cell a lot, and it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
John, there was a time in the feds where there was where we were not under the gun at any time unless we were on the yard, and that, that's gun towers and shit. But nowadays, man, they're shooting into the penitentiary to break up fights in the Fed joints now. They're shooting people on the yards.
Yeah, where are the guns at?
I'm not sure if they're in the towers or what, but they're like these new McCreary. That's where, by the way, that's where pirate paroled from United States Penitentiary McQuarrie. I'm not sure where that is. I think it's somewhere on the East Coast. But I mean, they got like 5 or 6 penitentiaries now, man. Where they're shooting people on the fucking yard. When you start stabbing a motherfucker on the yard, they're shooting at you. They're shooting to kill.
Well, you're going to get shot on the yard. If you're stabbing motherfuckers or whatever on the yard, you're under gun towers. You're going to get shot.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. But in California, the guns are right in the cell block with you.
Yeah, I don't know for sure.
There's signs on the wall. Right step outside your cell. There's big giant sign in red paint way up in the air covering the wall. A big giant sign, big giant letters. No warning shots will be fired in this area. And
wow.
You step out of your cell, you got a Mini 14 on you, right on the front door of your cell.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, that's just how it is. And every time you're out of and then when you go to the yard like Pelican Bay, there's 8 cell blocks with the central gun tower under the motherfucking, like the Kim Powell area right there, the main one. You're under 9 rifles. And you're in a kill box right there. If you're on a level 4 270, you're under 6 rifles. Each fucking cell block has its tower on the inside that's hooked right up to your pods. And when you're out in the pod making phone calls or playing checkers or whatever, the motherfucker's on you with a fucking Mini 14. He's got a gun cage hanging over the front door going into the cell block. And it's caged in that when there's an alarm, he steps out of his little bubble, goes down this little hallway and slides open the door. Now he's another gun covering the yard. If you go in to talk to the cops or a case manager inside the unit right there in your pod, they got trap doors that open up in the ceiling of the unit manager's office or the cop's office or whatever, where he will fire right down in that motherfucker with that rifle into that office and light your ass up.
Boy.
When you're walking out of the pod to leave the building, you're walking down the hallway directly underneath the tower that controls your cell block right there, your pods. It's only about 15 feet off the floor. Right over you, it's sliding plexiglass with bars. And the plexiglass is always open, and he will fire right down that motherfucker in that pod with that 14. So when you're walking out, they got trap doors in the little hallway roof. It's a little tiny thing, about as wide as a cell is, maybe 8 feet wide. Right above
you have 1 minute left.
They got the fucking trap doors. He will pop over and fire right down that hallway with that motherfucker Mini 14. So you're always under a fucking rifle shooting live rounds. That's the difference between California and the Feds. The Feds ain't got it. When you're in the shoe in Pelican Bay, whenever you leave your pod, you're walking down the hallway, you got 3 cops, you're chained and leg ironed up. Right above you on a catwalk, directly above your head, you got a gunner that's assigned to you with a motherfucking Mini 14 with live rounds. Wherever you go, he's right over your head with a rifle.
Wow.
That's how California is.
Yeah.
All right, I'll call you Tuesday.
All right, I'll talk to you, bro. Take care. Be careful.
Tell Peg Leg I said hello, man. I said mine. I'm glad he's out and all that. And you guys have a good one. Stay safe. I'll holler at you Tuesday, all right?
All right, bros.
Drive safe out there.
All right, we will. All right, guys.
All right, catch you later.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
So anyway, man, like that was pretty interesting. 'Cause I know I've been hearing stories because like I left the feds in '03, and they were just starting to, build United States penitentiaries all over the East Coast, down in Tennessee, West Virginia, Virginia, Kentucky, and every one of these prisons are a complex of prisons. It's a high, a medium, and a low, and perhaps a camp. So everything is like, on about 300-400 acres of land, and they'll have different prisons and different levels. But some of the more higher level security prisons have had, situations like they do in California where guys are stabbing each other on the yard. And the cops, now I don't know if the towers are in the cell blocks or if they're just on the perimeters like they used to be in the Fed joints, but they're shooting, killing inmates on those yards who are attempting to kill each other and assault each other with weapons. It happens. There's been a lot of murders committed by the staff uh, in trying to keep the peace, I guess you could say, just like they do in California. So that's something that's totally different than what we were used to in the feds back in the day. So does anybody know out there if if the feds in the newer prisons nowadays, do they have gun towers in the cell blocks like they do in California? That's a question I don't know the answer to. But, John, as you can see, he was in Pelican Bay. He knows, what it's like in the SHU and what it's like to be in the general population. Doesn't sound like a fun place to do time. I didn't ask him about the visits. I didn't ask him about the drugs. I don't know if you get contact visits there or not. If you got contact visits, then you're probably going to get, I think he did say that he got contact visits there. So there's probably drugs there too. That's usually what makes the world go round in prison is drugs, Yesterday I left off talking about Clay Fountain. I was going to tell you guys a quick story about Clay. Clay was trying to break away from the DC clique. He was kind of riding with the DCs, right? He didn't know what the fuck he was doing, right? And it wasn't until he got to the control unit in Marion that somebody laced him up and told him, "What are you doing, man? You're white. What are you doing? You're not supposed to be hanging out with DC blacks." So he wanted to break away. He knew now that, that he was in the wrong and he needed to be with his own people. So he was going to try to make a stand. And he was up on Sea Range. And Kenny Johnson, who was co-defendants with Pirate McNally on an air piracy case from Marion, Kenny Johnson sent him to me to get a knife. I had two knives. I had a big one and a small one. I was on D range. He came over. Clay asked me, said, "Kenny told me, can I get a knife from you? Because I gotta make a stand with these DC guys. I gotta separate myself from them. And I might need a knife. I might have a problem with that." So I give him a small knife, the smaller of the two that I had. And he went over there, and he ended up getting stabbed himself, okay? And it was a guy named Piggy Bay. Piggy Bay stabbed him in the neck, all right? He went up to the gate and told the cop, "Look, I've been stabbed." He showed him he was bleeding from his neck or something. They took him downtown, sent him back to the prison, no big deal, right? When I seen him the next day, he had like a little cut on his neck, looked like he scraped himself shaving or something, man. So I asked him, like, what happened, dude? He said, well, I stepped into his cell, man, and we were talking, and it was got to be, and he pulled out his knife and he stuck me in the neck, and I didn't know if I was going to die or not. So I went to the cop and I told him, man, I need help. I got stabbed. I said, well, don't look like you got stabbed too bad, bro. It looks like you cut yourself shaving, dude. He said, well, I didn't know how bad it was, so I had to go. I got to get some medical treatment, right? I said, all right, man. What happened to the knife, bro? He said, I had to throw it away, man. I said, well, where was it when the guy was stabbing you? He said, I never pulled it out. I never pulled it out. So anyway, he looked like a goddamn fool, right? In front of everybody who already thought he was a kind of a fool anyway, because he was like hanging out with DC guys, right? Right. So now you look dumber than than he already looked. And that was, before he went and got on the wreck with Baby Huey and Pirate, because Baby Huey and Pirate and Clay Fountain were wreck partners on A Range. Okay, right up until Pirate got off the wreck. Well, you'll hear about this tomorrow when I interview Pirate, and that's when they killed Steamboat, and then when they killed Steamboat, well, his fucking his popularity went through the fucking roof, because everybody hated Steamboat. He was a pest. He was a problem. He needed to be dealt with, and he was dealt with. Trust me, he was dealt with. It was a beautiful thing. And so all the little things that were in his way, as far as his presence in the unit, that was all washed away once he killed Steamboat. But it lingered a little bit. It still lingered a little bit, but until Tommy got there and took him under his wing, and then his value shot through the roof alongside of Tommy when they killed what was his name? I forget. They strangled him through the bars. Starts with a C. I forgot his last name, but that was a good murder too. And then of course the Cadillac Smith murder. Oh my God, he was on top of the world then. And then of course the two guards, and that was it. He was finished after that. They never, they put him in a fucking cell and he died there 20 years later. No human contact, But he started out as kind of a lame, and he built his reputation on bloodshed, and he loved it. Once he got that first one under his belt, there was no stopping him, man. He was on that killer trip, and he shined. He shined, man. He really did. He became a crazed killer, and there was no stopping him. Anyway, man. Oh, and one last thing, man. I want to say, man, like, I get it, man. Like, John doesn't really understand what's going on in the world. He thinks he's going to come out here and just, like, flourish. And, his ideas of what he's capable of and what's reality are, very in contrast with one another. Let's put it that way. He's not, I think the best thing for him to do would be to try to get involved with a law firm. He knows how to research, legal research. He's probably capable of doing that better than anybody anybody else that I can think of. Even lawyers. Most lawyers don't even know how to do that much legal research. They just don't do enough of it. So they hire other people to do that. And I would think that John would be perfect for that type of job, and it's a well-paying job. The only problem with John doing that is that, John has a tendency to tell people what he thinks is the right thing, and You know, if he tries doing that, he won't. You know, they're not going to let him do that. He's not going to be able to dictate anything. You know, he's got to do his job and do it well. And you know, like I say, he could flourish under them circumstances, providing he doesn't try to, you know, become the Houdini of the fucking place, and you know, think he's smarter than the people he's working for. Let's put it that way. All right. So, with that all being said, I think we know where we stand, and it's been a good day. I hope to have Pirate on here tomorrow. We're going to do a nice show. You're going to love this guy. And like I say, Monday I'm going to New York on a little road trip with my boy Frank, and I'll probably do a little something on that too. So that's it for today, guys.